Here we go. Just started. We'll give it a minute to let everybody who registered join today. Is it about 10 p.m. at St. Andrews?
Yeah.
For those just tuning in, we'll get started in just a minute. We want to let everybody who registered tune in, so we'll get started in just a minute. Okay, we'll get started. And if everybody joins us later on, they'll get to hear more information about the film studies major within the joint degree program. My name is Carolina Ward. I'm an assistant dean with the Office of Undergraduate Admission at William & Mary. So I had the great honor of reviewing your applications to the joint degree program, and congratulations on being admitted to the program. That's super exciting. And just so you're all aware, after we do introductions, we will get started on the Q&A portion of the panel. Please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. I know there's a Q&A and there's a chat box. It's just easier if you keep it to the Q&A just for us to kind of just run through. And we'll go ahead and get started by me passing on to Hannah.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm from New York. I'm a third year in the joint degree program studying film studies, obviously. So I'm currently at St. Andrews, as you can see by my background. I have the St. Andrews Castle, so that's fun. And I started at William & Mary, so I did like the ABBA, and so next year I'll be back at William & Mary, so that should be fun.
Awesome. Well, the people joining in from their homes and tuning in, please feel free to start dropping your questions in the Q&A box. I'll just kind of begin. I have some questions I'd like to pose to you, Hannah. Can you talk a little bit about that first year curriculum as a film studies major? What classes did you take in your first year?
Yeah, so in my first year, it's like very like loose at William & Mary, which makes it really nice. So all you have are just like 2 required classes, which is Intro to Film Studies and then like Film History Part 1. So that's like 1 in each semester. And then you just have like your general kind of like breadth requirements, which kind of just like vary based on like how many APs you took in high school. So it was very nice. It was very chill. I got to take more film studies classes just because like I wanted to, but also like I got to have the general kind of everything classes that you kind of expect when you go to a liberal arts college. So that was nice. It's very like flexible and also just like a really like great introduction to film studies.
Nice, awesome. And kind of going off that, how do film classes at William & Mary differ from film classes at St. Andrews, or do they even differ?
Yeah, so they actually, I feel like, are very like complementary, like between each school. So at St. Andrews, it's a little bit different because you take a lot less classes. So your film studies classes proportionally take up a lot more of your time. So like in second year, I just took 3 classes. 1 was film studies. And then in third year, you just take 2 classes and they're both film studies. Um, so I mean like that, it's just more time for film studies, but I guess like within the actual classes, they pair really well because in second year St. Andrews, I took like the first one was like film history, kind of like part 2, and then it was film theory, which kind of just opens up the door to like everything else in film studies, which is what I'm taking now. So like this year, first semester, I took like detectives, that was fun, and I took sensory cinema. And this semester, I'm taking film and politics and film and nation. So that's good.
Very cool. Sounds like cool classes. And then how did you decide to do the ABBA track? So we've always gotten questions about how do you decide which track you want to do? How did you go about that?
Yeah, so there was like a number of things. I kind of just wanted like that continuity a little bit between just like 2 years, because it's just like a lot picking up all your stuff and packing it all up and traveling across the world. So I wanted to say for that. And then also in fourth year, it's like a little bit different how you do the classes. Like if you're at William & Mary, there's a little bit like more flexibility because you go back to the William & Mary style where you're taking all these classes, then you have like these fun projects and options like that. Whereas St. Andrews, it's very much like you take your classes in film and then you also have to write like a dissertation module. So it's just like a big paper that you're working on, which isn't really the case at William & Mary. Like I was just talking about this with my advisor the other week. And at William & Mary, like for my big like project, I get to pretty much design my own course, which is fun and just like find a professor and be like, this is what I want to like study in film studies, and then kind of like choose all the watchings, choose all the readings, and then like write a couple papers on it. But it's like a lot more chill kind of than it would be at St. Andrews, which is something that I was just interested in.
Yeah, that sounds great. Oh, that's awesome. And can you talk a little bit about how advising within the program works? So I know in case those that are tuning in don't know, you have your major advisor on both sides, and then you also have peer advisors, which I know can be super helpful. But would you mind sharing kind of your experience within that?
Yeah. So, in terms of major advisors, you obviously have like Marcus Holmes, who is in charge on the William and Mary side, but then we also have our own advisor, who is Richard Lowery. He's absolutely like wonderful, very helpful with everything. So he kind of helps you with everything on William and Mary side. So like choosing classes, and just like fulfilling requirements, everything like that. And then on the St. Andrew side, it's a little bit different because in your first year, you have Lisa Jones, who is kind of the equivalent to like Marcus Holmes. And so she helps you with all your first year classes. And then you also have like another advisor who's just for film specific, who's like Tom Rice, who I've had for 3 modules at this point, who's also absolutely lovely. And he's more of just like a resource, like to ask questions for about like specific film classes and to just like help with the transition more than like a formal peer advisor, because there's less of like an option in classes, because it's very much just like you have your required classes and you get into them and you take them, and it's not like you might not be able to take them, and you have this like freedom as you do at William and Mary and all these requirements. So yeah.
Thank you. And then also in terms of that transition between the schools, that's a big point of the program, of course, is you're attending 2 schools during your 4 years in college. What are some of the challenges that go with that transition? And I know some students are worried about that, but how would you say you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's a little hard transitioning. I mean, everyone talks about it. It's just like you're going somewhere completely new. You have like your joint degree friends, but you're also like out there trying to make new friends, and you kind of feel like a freshman again, which can be a little frustrating at times. But even within that, it's just like so much fun. Just join a lot of like clubs and sports. Like sports is a big thing at St. Andrews. I play handball just like randomly enough. And just like meet a lot of people kind of through that in the same way that you would at William and Mary. So it's just like, I mean, yeah, it's what you make of it. You just have to like put yourself out there a little bit more because you've already like been there before. So you're a little like hesitant, I feel like, for most people.
That's a good way of putting it. Like it's what you make of it. It's what you pursue and get out there. Actually, your mention of handball reminds me. Can you share what you're involved in, like extracurricularly? That's a tricky word to say, but extracurricularly at both institutions.
Yeah. So it's been a while since I was at William and Mary, but I was in a sorority there. I was on exec board for Hillel. I was on like hall or like community council, which is kind of just like hall committee type thing. So like planning events for that. I was a tribe ambassador, and then I just like did a few like random things around. So like there's a film festival, so I did stuff with that, which was fun. And yeah, and then at St. Andrews, so I play handball, like I said, which is a lot of fun. Do recommend. Then last year there was this big like student run arts festival, which obviously can't really happen this year because of COVID. So that's called On the Rocks. I was on the programming committee for that. So that was fun. Um, Also, there's like a theater here. This is more of a this year thing called the Buyer Theater, which because of COVID became more of like a film screening place. So I was also on like the programming kind of like group for that. So we just like selected all the films that were played like throughout the fall semester. Um, I was also on Jewish Society. I'm the treasurer for that. And then I just had like a job. So yeah. Oh, and then I'm on the WAMSA exec board, but I forget about that because that doesn't feel like it's
Busy,
either.
busy. Well, for those tuning in, I feel like I'm asking all the questions and I hope they've been informative, but please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A box. We definitely want to get those questions that you're wondering about answered, whether they are about the joint degree program, William Mary, St. Andrews, the film studies major. Happy to answer any of those. So feel free to drop those in the box. But I always like to ask every joint degree program major this, but why did you choose the JDP, and what was that process like choosing it?
Yeah, so I had a lot of fun applying to colleges. It kind of just felt like I was going shopping, but I didn't have to like buy anything. So I had like all the like massive just like college books that was just like, 300 whatever schools. Randomly like found St. Andrews, found William and Mary on it, and was just on the William and Mary website, just like looking through majors to see if there's like anything I was interested in. I saw film studies, and then underneath I saw film studies joint degree with St. Andrews. And I was like, ooh, what's that? Exciting, fun, fun. It's like this seems like a lot of fun. I applied to that and I applied to a lot of other schools. And then just like looking at everything, I was just like, yeah, so this is where I want to go. This seems like the most fun. And just like in the grand scheme of things, I'm paying so much money to go to university. So I might as well just do something that's like interesting, that's really just going to enhance my experience outside of just like the name of a college or just like the traditional, I guess, like American like college experience, which I feel like I would get otherwise.
Looks like we got a question. Can you share the other courses you took outside of film during the years 1, 2, and 3 and particularly at St. Andrews? So what classes out
Mhm.
of film have you taken?
Yeah. So I took a bunch of classes. So in terms of St. Andrews, I took Scottish music and culture, which was interesting to say the least. It's something when you have someone playing bagpipes for you at 9 in the morning on a Tuesday. But it was fun. It was cool. I took a class in management, like called like entrepreneurship, where that one was you were in a group and you kind of designed your own product to like sell to other students, and it was all about like that process, which was quite cool. I took an anthropology course and I took a linguistics course, and then at William and Mary, I took some sociology courses, psychology, math, a few religion ones. I took Jewish music. I took Intro to Hinduism, Intro to Cultural Anthropology. There was a bunch more. I'm just like trying to think. It was a while ago. And then just like because how it works, like so third year is just film studies courses. So I've just been taking film studies this year, which has been like kind of nice, but I'm excited next year to go back. I just registered for my classes for next year. So that's going to be exciting. That'll be fun. Taking a class on Darwinism and its like cultural implications, which is quite cool.
Those sound cool. Very interesting classes. And for the William Mary and the St. Andrews side, now I know you're in your third year, but we always get questions about the career services. Can you pursue internships on both sides? And are the career services robust on both sides? Do you mind speaking to that a bit?
Yeah. So career services are definitely helpful. In my first year at William and Mary over spring break, I went on so a little like industry trip. So we went to New York City, where I'm from, ironically, and just looked at a lot of different careers in like television and media and entertainment and just everything like that. Just because like going in, I really didn't know what I wanted to do or anything. Yeah. So that was just like a nice way to narrow it down. I ended up, well, I've been actually last week I just ended. So I was interning with Nickelodeon since last June. So that's been a lot of fun. Ironically, on that trip, we actually went to the office where I should have been working, but COVID happened, so I worked from home. And it's been great. And then in terms of career services at St. Andrews, um, yeah, so they're definitely helpful. I haven't personally used them as much because I just worked out my internships kind of like beforehand. Um, but they also like hold events a lot because I do get all the emails from the career services about different talks and different events about like how to pursue things like in film studies, kind of just beyond.
And then we have a question asking, what are some things you like to do around St. Andrews
Yeah.
to
So
enjoy in like the town and everything?
yeah, so with COVID, obviously it's quite different, but I've literally walked all around St. Andrews. I do that all the time. It's kind of a joke that I'm just always on a walk. I love the beaches. It's just like a nice place. The castle behind me, that is my favorite place in St. Andrews, just to like go in. If you're a student, you can just walk in with your little like red robe and they just like let you in. And it's really beautiful. And then also one of my good friends happens to be from like a nearby town. So we just go on adventures through like all of her childhood homes in the fishing villages of Fife. So that's like a lot of fun. And then normally also there's just, like cafes and pubs and all that. But with COVID, it's like a little bit different at the moment.
That's so nice. You have a close friend nearby. That's awesome. Definitely go travel around. And actually that brings up another question of we always get students that ask, are you able to travel on the weekends or breaks? Is there time? And a lot of JDP students have said, oh yes, I travel all over. Have you had experiences like that?
Yeah, definitely. So I personally don't travel on weekends because it's just a lot of money for not a lot of time. But I mean, last year, especially over winter break, I just traveled the whole time. So I spent like 6 weeks just like backpacking through Europe alone. So that was like a lot of fun. Highly recommend that. That was a really, really like fantastic time. And then also there's just like a lot of breaks. Like you have like fall break, which is a week, and then you have spring break, which is 2 weeks. So in a normal year, you would travel then, you would travel over your breaks, you have time between exams that you would travel, and then just all the time around it. So it's definitely like a very good and easy opportunity. And I do have a lot of friends who did just like travel on weekends. Like I had two who one time they're just like, why don't we just go on Skyscanner? And then they saw like a 10-pound like return trip to Sweden. So they just went to Sweden for a weekend.
That's so cool. So it just seems impossible like being here at this time, like here, but it certainly is. And looks like we've kind of answered the questions that people tuning in have asked, but in terms of, what have been your favorite classes and what have been your favorite professors? Some people like to get recommendations.
Ooh, there's been a lot of like really good classes at both universities. Sorry. Sorry, I'm like thinking about this. So
No, that's okay.
St.
I know I've heard there's a lot of great professors at both.
Mhm.
I know that can be tricky to think about.
Yeah, so at St. Andrews, I really liked my class this semester, which is Cinema and the Nation. So that is with Professor Rice, who I was saying is our advisor. Absolutely lovely. I've had him for 2 classes now this year. One of my favorite professors. Then also Dr. Zoe Shacklock. She's also lovely, really fantastic. Also had her for 2 classes this year. And then at William and Mary, so my call 150 was, I think, Media Today. Yeah, it was like a sociology, but also like media course. So I really, really loved that. I really loved the professor for that. That was a great course. It really just like helped me improve my writing, and it was just great. Like every time I go to office hours, I'd come out like feeling better and just like leaving. And I'm like, I'm the best here. No one can stop me. So that was really fun. And then, yes, obviously, all my film classes have been really great. So I'm excited for more of those.
Awesome. Awesome. And how has, from your experience as a student within the joint degree program and the pandemic affecting it basically halfway through, how did that affect your experience? How did it affect it a year ago in the spring? And then how did they manage this past fall?
Yeah, so obviously it was like really upsetting having to go home. So I was really bummed about that because it's also right on spring break, right after my birthday. So I was planning on going to Iceland. No, I wasn't. I was going to go to Norway. Didn't happen. But that's okay. Had to go home. Sad times. But then just like it's been really, really nice being back. Like I didn't go home for winter break, so I just spent the whole time here. And you obviously like can't go as far because of just like lockdown restrictions and everything, but I've seen so much of like the local area and so much of Fife and just so much of Scotland that I never would have seen had the pandemic happened, because it's like, why would I casually like go on a day trip to another like little fishing village? Like, why am I going to this random like Scottish city? And like now it's just like really fun. And I have all these like cute little like day trips planned for when after I finish. And like all my friends are from Scotland. So gonna go see all their homes and like their towns, and it's just like really like special in its own kind of like sad kind of COVID, but also just like nice way.
Thank you. And then we have a question asking, are there classes related to film production? And if so, how are they?
Yeah. So that's more so a thing on the William and Mary side. So I actually signed up for one of those classes for next year. So intro to production, where hopefully I'll know. I'm sure it's good. No one's ever told me it wasn't good. So yeah. And then also just within that, there's a lot of opportunity to learn about film production at both universities. They both have like media centers and resources to kind of like take out film equipment and learn how to do it. Like I remember my first year at William and Mary, I signed up for like the Global Film Festival to like be a youth mentor, and I had no idea how to edit a video. I mean, the whole goal of the thing was to like teach them how to make their own film, and I didn't really know how to do it. So I kind of just like found my own mentor like within that. He was like a fourth year at William and Mary, and he showed me how to download all of the Adobe um like sweet kind of stuff. Not so legally, but it works really well. I know how to use like Premiere Pro. I can use Photoshop and all of that. And so there's also just like a lot of resources at William and Mary to like teach you how to do that, both like online and then in person. And at St. Andrews, it's like a similar deal where they have like the film making society. So with that, they also like teach you how to do that. And there's lots of like opportunities to make your own film and enter in competitions, which is not something that I've been personally super interested in, but I know that there's a lot of people who do it and they love it.
Nice, awesome. Well, I have a final question, but again, those tuning in, feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A box. But what advice would you give to these film studies admitted students deciding, on whether to do the program or not? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, honestly, just like make the most of your opportunities. I worked very hard in high school. That's how I got here. It was a lot of fun, and then I kind of just like got to university and realized that there's so many other great things that come with it that are kind of outside education that I never would have like thought of. So just like trying a lot of different like clubs and societies and things I didn't know I would be interested in that just seemed fun, and just like looking for all these different opportunities that I never really like saw myself doing or thought of, but that just seemed like cool, and just kind of making the most of like all the different opportunities that both universities have to offer, because just like why not?
Good advice. Good advice. And then it looks like we have a question asking, how much do the JDP students function as a cohort, particularly during the years at St. Andrews? Meaning, do they meet regularly, formally, informally? Is there support from faculty for William and Mary JDP students while they're at St. Andrews?
Yeah. So we're definitely like a tight cohort. I have my friends in my JDP. I had my friends in St. Andrews. It's like kind of funny. Like when I talk about them, it's like, oh, my friend like Claire from the JDP. Like a lot of my like really good friends are from the program. So that's like absolutely lovely. We do have formal and informal events, obviously like more so without COVID. We also just have like the WAMSA student partnership, which is like the students our own kind of like leading way, where we have like events and funding and just like all these different things to like kind of support each other and like support ourselves. So I'm on the exec board for that. I am the external communications officer. So I run our Instagram and our blog and all of that. And then also kind of just like in terms of faculty and administration. So we definitely get like a lot more support, I feel like, at both schools than kind of like students if you just went to one, because I have all of my advisors. Like every time there's an event there, everyone will just like come up. They know who you are. Like I remember like my first, not my first year, but like last year, like going into St. Andrews, and we had this big like welcome event and everyone's there. And then I just remember Dean Sykes just like walking up to me like, oh, Hannah, how are you? Like, how is everything? How's film studies? And I was just like, wow, I didn't even know that you knew my name, and you just saw me across the room and you knew it was me. And all that. And just my advisors, they come to everything, and everyone, they're always just like there for you when you need them, and they respond really quickly. And then just like there's different times where you like you check in and they'll just like reach out to help, and they'll just reach out to see how you're doing, which is just really lovely.
And then our next question asks, when you went to St. Andrews, did you room with people in the JDP, or were you randomly assigned?
Yeah, so I actually live in a single, which is amazing. Highly recommend. So at William and Mary, my roommate coincidentally also happened to be in the JDP. So that was a lot of fun. But then when we were going to St. Andrews, we're like, everyone has their own room. So obviously we're gonna have our own room. So there's a bunch of people in the JDP who are like in my hall, but everyone who I live with is just St. Andrews students, which is also just like a really great opportunity to meet people, because now those are like my closest friends. I live with them again this year, and it's just great. And then I also just know a lot of people kind of like within the program who they do come to St. Andrews, and they do room with somebody in the JDP because that's what they want to do. And it's all worked out great for them. They're all really good friends as well. So it's really just like up to your preference.
Does anybody have any more questions? Oh, it looks like we got another question asking, will it be hard for you to find a roommate senior year back at William Mary?
So actually, I kind of decided for senior year since I haven't been there in a while, and a lot of my friends are either in the program or they've graduated. And I also just want to like branch out a little bit because, you know, it's always fun to make new friends. So I'm actually living with people who I found on like the Get a Room Facebook page. They just posted that they needed a fourth. So I messaged them, we FaceTime, they seem lovely. And I'm living with them. And then ironically, one of my like really good friends from the program is living next door. So it just like works out really well.
That does work out. That's great. Any other questions for people tuning in? Any questions you want to drop in the Q&A or the chat? We'd love to answer. And of course, for those tuning in, I did put my email next to my name in case you had any admission questions. Hannah, if you're good, drop in your email in the chat to attendees. That way they have your email in case they have questions specifically about the student experience that unfortunately I cannot speak to from firsthand experience. So please feel free to reach out to either one of us. We're happy to answer questions. Oh, Hannah just dropped in her email. I think that was actually to all panelists, but let me just copy.
Oh,
sent it. No, it's very, very hard. I'm sending it to everybody. So there we go. There's her email. Don't mind the dog barking in the background, but please feel free to reach out to us with questions after today. But thank you so much, Hannah, for providing your experiences and your insight about the Joint Degree Program and the Film Studies major. And thank you to those tuning in and learning more about it. We're so happy you could tune in and talk with us today. Bye.
great.
Have a great evening.